Speaking of great fans, how about some Packers and Bucs in the NFC title game? And let us jump to the end of the game. 3rd and goal, over 2 minutes left, Pack down 8. Could Aaron Rodgers have run it in? Certainly looked like it from my comfortable couch in my cozy apartment as I was yelling at the TV. Following the failed 3rd down, Matt LaFleur decides to kick a field goal that cut the lead to 5, but Green Bay would never get the ball back. And that was it. So let us now hear from Packers head coach Matt LaFleur on that decision.
I think anytime something doesn't work out, do you regret it? Sure. But we're always going to be process driven here. And the way our defense was battling, the way our defense was playing, we felt like it was the right decision to do. And it just didn't work out.
Aaron, did you agree with the decision to kick it there on 4th down?
Well, I didn't have a decision on that one. Yeah, that wasn't my decision, but I understand the thinking above 2 minutes with all of our timeouts, but yeah, that wasn't my decision.
Hey, Brady, you surprised LaFleur elected to kick that field goal there, down 8 late in the 4th quarter instead of going for it?
Well, first, he had the decision to take off and run on 3rd down where nobody was in front of him, and then you wouldn't even put your coach in a situation where he had to make that decision. But look, as a player, I've been in those meeting rooms where we talk through the tight red and red zone offense. It's hard to score down here in the tight red. They were on the 8-yard line. Look at the play before. Let's say he didn't have an opportunity to take off and score. No one's open. Right? They're dropping 8 people. It's hard to find someone open. So, yes, I agree with Coach doing it. If it worked, he's a genius. If it doesn't work, now we're talking about it. So, you know, I go back to my meetings with Coach Josh McDaniels. He used to always say, Brandon, you got to understand that in the tight red, the first play doesn't work. So he would make us run the first play, and then he said, okay, now go work. Go find open spots, because that's where you're going to score a touchdown. 70% of the time in a tight red, you're not going to score off the first option. You got a 10-yard in cut, back at the end line. You're not going to get it. You're going to get it when you whip back out and you run to the pylon. So I agree with Coach here, and obviously, you know, he's getting crushed because it didn't work, and this is a part of the game. You know, but I go back to that 3rd down. Aaron Rodgers should have took off and been a hero and dove in the end zone. That's what should have happened.
And Brandon, even if he doesn't get in the end zone, he gets at least to the 3 or 4, and then they are going for it. If he gets positive yards there, then they are going for it on 4th down. So a couple things here. One is, if they were down 7 or 6, kicking a field goal here to me would be indefensible. But down 8 is a different story, because you can't, like, a 2-point conversion is hard to get. Just ask the Packers earlier. So the idea that they go for it, even if you score the touchdown, you might end up kicking off down a score to Tampa. So I get the logic of kick the field goal. If we get a stop, now a touchdown wins it for us. But I think the 2 most notable points are about what it says about both quarterbacks. Matt LaFleur, the Green Bay Packers started the season by showing so much faith in Aaron Rodgers, they traded up to draft his replacement. And they ended the season by taking the ball out of the alleged league MVP's hands. So it says quite a bit about what they think of Rodgers, whether they want to admit it or not. And I do want to thank Matt LaFleur, because while he let me off the hook a bit, because I am, you know, on a short list of people that if you were to ask who's the most disrespectful to Tom Brady, people would probably mention my name relatively quickly. Well, not anymore, because Matt LaFleur kicking a field goal there is the single most disrespectful thing Tom Brady has ever experienced. More than me and Kellerman talking about a cliff, more than anything on Tom versus Time, more than any of it. Because what he said when he kicked that field goal is, guess what, GOAT? You're going to go 3 and out. We don't think you can get a single solitary first down. And he, of course, was wrong. I know Packer fans will say he was wrong because of a bad call, but it is what it is. So it was LaFleur saying, I trust my defense to stop Tom Brady more than Aaron Rodgers to get 8 yards. That is the nut of what just happened here, Wilds.
Right.
Well, let me jump in here. So for Tom Brady, he ended up having the last laugh, as obviously you know how that ended. He goes on to his 10th Super Bowl. But for Aaron Rodgers, Rodgers now falls to 1-4 in NFC Championship games as the focus shifts to his future in Green Bay this offseason. So, Brendan, I want to throw it back to you. Was yesterday more about Brady's win or Aaron Rodgers' loss?
Oof. I think when it's all said and done, when we look up 3 months from now, 4 months from now, it's going to be equal. We're going to be talking about Tom Brady and what he's done next to Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Wayne Gretzky, Derek Jeter. But then on the other side, there are a lot of questions surrounding Aaron Rodgers this offseason. Where do you go from here, right? Like, I know how hard it is just to lose a big game in a regular season. Now you're talking about losing what is this, your fourth NFC Championship game? Like, this is a big deal. And you're sitting at 37. So I think we're going to be having these discussions for the next couple of months because we're going to be looking at where does the Packers go from here? Where does Aaron Rodgers go from here? Does he want to stay in Green Bay? Does he want to move on? And then Tom Brady, obviously, this is a huge discussion. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, Nick, where, you know, if this guy goes to the Super Bowl and win it, will he then go from the greatest football player ever to potentially the greatest athlete ever? So this is a huge discussion that is just now getting started.
Yeah, it feels like the narrative change, though, was around Aaron Rodgers. Like, Tom Brady came into the game being the GOAT, and he's going to left the game being the super GOAT. And I think Aaron Rodgers looks at this game and says, they went all in on Tom Brady, and my team, just like Nick mentioned, is not. They signed him to a 2-year contract, even though he's old, and Belichick has basically given up on him. They drafted an offensive lineman, not his backup quarterback. They signed his buddies. They signed Gronk, which everybody loves, but AB, Arians is on the record of not loving AB. So then I think, and then at the end of the half, what'd they do, Nick? All right, yeah, do we want to go? Do we want to punt it? Do we want to hit a field goal? Like, nah, send Brady back out there. Let's score. I think Aaron Rodgers looks at that, Nick, and says, you know what that feels like where I'm in? It feels like Tom Brady in New England right now. Maybe I'm Tom Brady in New England. Maybe I need to seriously think about pulling a Deshaun Watson, asking to leave this place. I think that, you know, I don't think it was just frustration after a game rearing its head. I think he's going to take a long, hard look at it and be like, you know what? You're right, LaFleur. We do make process, prudent decisions. But you know what? I want to win right now.
I get all that. And I've been a huge supporter of Rodgers. I love him as a player. But if you want to win right now, the best thing Rodgers could have done would have been to play better yesterday. Because they didn't lose yesterday because they didn't have enough weapons. They didn't lose yesterday because they didn't have enough chances. So the reason I can't make it about Brady, can we just show Brady's stat lines? Brady, listen, Brady played perfect football for the first half and that one throw to start the second half. And then he gave the Packers every chance imaginable to get back in that game. And what did Rodgers do with those chances? Down 28-23, he went 3 and out. Brady then threw another pick, and Rodgers went 3 and out again. And as Brandon mentioned, down 31-23, could have run maybe for a touchdown, certainly for a decent gain, and he throws an incompletion. On top of that, what led to the touchdown for the Bucs before the half? Rodgers throwing a pick. So I love Rodgers, but the Packers were better than the Bucs throughout the entirety of the season. Rodgers was better than Brady throughout the entirety of the season. And last night or yesterday afternoon, that was not the case. And so I think this isn't when you played the Falcons and they scored 31 straight points in the conference championship game because your defense was horrible. The Packers defense got Green Bay back in this game after they had back-to-back turnovers. One on Rodgers, one on was Aaron Jones. And Aaron Rodgers had chances to capitalize, Jenna, and never could. So I think that this one's got to sit on him as much as the organization.
And when you talk about what both teams have